Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of Hear Her Roar. We are back in the Mic'd Up Studios in Parramatta this afternoon, and we are very excited to be sharing with you what we are here to talk about this week. And as always, I am here with my amazing co-host, Rach. How are you, Rach?
I'm well, Kelly. Thank you. How's your week been?
It's been great. Let's just leave it at that. After that game on Sunday, it's only got better. Firstly, tell me, Rach, what jersey are you wearing today?
This is the 2006 West Tigers jersey. It's actually one of my favourites. So I think the 2005, 2006 jerseys are absolutely elite.
And you have definitely gone into the archives today.
And I love a collared jersey. So this one and last year's Heritage jersey are my two favourites. So more collared jerseys, please.
Yeah. And you told me a quick story about this jersey before.
It's actually the second one I ever purchased out of my own money. So
love that.
Yeah. So and I'm grateful that it still fits.
I'm very impressed that it still fits. The first West Tigers jersey I bought, it doesn't quite fit. The first Magpies jersey I bought still fits because it was huge. Like those jerseys were massive.
But these are much more fitted.
That's
nowadays.
right. So this one I have on is the 2014 away jersey. And on the back, you can't actually see it because my hair's out, but I wore this to the final game at Leichhardt that year. Okay. We were playing the Sharks, and similar to the issues that we're facing at the moment, we had on the sidelines, and who signed my shirt, James Tedesco, Pat Richards, David Nofaluma, Tim Simona, and Keith. I can never remember how to pronounce his surname. Not Galloway, obviously. I know who he is, but he was one of the other centres. Not Ken Marmalade. Keith Leilui or something.
Yeah, he scored 4 tries or something against
the Bulldogs. Yep. All of those boys signed this jersey, but we went on that game to beat the Sharks. It was 26-10. We were down 10-4 at halftime, and we came back and scored 22 unanswered points in the second half. Blake Austin was playing at fullback. Luke Brooks had come off. He was in jersey 18 playing in the halves with Mitch Moses. So just goes to show that even with injuries, we can still win.
Absolutely.
So hopefully that's a good omen going into Leichhardt this weekend. But let's get into this week's episode. We have a lot to get through, and we've even cut things from the run sheet. So this week we're going to cover the NRLW season launch. We're going to talk a little bit about women's rugby league and women's sport in general. Then we'll recap the weekend with the game and the ambush event. We'll have a look to this weekend, which again, we have a huge weekend of football, and then we'll wrap it up with our Titans preview. So, Rach, last Thursday, we were lucky enough to attend the NRLW season launch out at West Ashfield. It was an amazing night where we got to chat with players, with coaching staff. We saw Charmaine again. And really the whole vibe of the night was just that this team is hungry for success.
100%.
So not only did they introduce the NRLW girls, but they also introduced all of the Harvey Norman girls, which was really, really great.
Great to see that those pathways,
that
connecting.
Progression. That's exactly right. So, Rach, what was it? What was the vibe like for you? What did you enjoy the most out of the night?
It was just a really laid back affair. Like, it was nice that we had the opportunity to mingle, as you said, with the players, with the coaching staff. They were coming up to us as well. So that was a really lovely aspect of it. They were just really grateful to have people there talking and celebrating, their women's game. And it was just, nice to see the girls. And as you said, the girls look hungry. They look fit. Like, some of these players, like, walking in, we're like, oh, my God, look at Racine. Like, wow.
Racine McGregor was the big one for me because obviously she's one of our new signings from the Dragons. She has had quite an extensive rugby league career, and people were wondering, is this the right move for the club to bring somebody like Racine across? But when she came around the corner, the two of us looked at each other and went, is that Racine?
Yeah.
And then speaking to the girls, told us that she's lost 10 kilos in the off season, which for a female player is a huge effort, a massive effort. So very, very excited to see her take the field. What else sort of stood out to you from the launch? What was your favourite part of the night?
Meeting some of the girls. We got to meet Namoy, who I'm personally a big fan of Namoy. I've been watching a few of her highlights from the Queensland Rugby League Cups, and she's only 19. Just meet
she was
her.
Very tall.
Very
she
tall.
She towered over me.
And fit, like for 19. And I know Charmaine's also said that Namoy's one to really watch this year. But just how everybody's united. Everybody is really hungry for success, and how much, and we'll go into it, but they've changed a lot of their programs from last year into this year because they realised where we were lacking in previous years, and they've put in programs to change, to make us better, basically.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was a big thing for me, and I will apologise again that we interviewed 6 players, or I interviewed 6 players on the night. Unfortunately, however, microphones didn't work. So we had all of these great conversations with 6 of the girls. So as you said, Namoy, with Harmony, with Tara, with Brooke, and a couple of the other girls who's Leah, who's another new signing. So all of these girls who are really eager and keen to get in and to have a crack, and Brooke's returning from almost a whole year off with injury, and Leah's just come to the club, and now Namoy's getting this experience with the older girls, and Tara's come back for another season. Portia was the other one as well, who I actually got to speak to on Sunday, which we'll talk about a bit later. But all of the girls have said the thing that they're most looking forward to this season is the different approach that's around the club, the culture, the club culture, which we've already seen in the NRL side. And, Sean and even Charmaine, when she was here with us the other week, spoke about that culture filtering from the top all the way through the club, through both streams, not just the men's having this particular culture, but the men and the women both working towards this goal of unity and resilience and family and commitment and those kinds of things. And Kezzy spoke about it in her captain's acceptance speech, which was really exciting. And then we sort of heard from, I can't even remember his name, but the warrior who the girls had done a camp with. Yes. And he just said that the level of fitness between the beginning of working with the girls and after working with the girls has been quite exceptional. Absolutely.
And on that as well, what has heavily been spoken about is going back to the fundamentals of the game. Like we spoke to Pat Richards, his daughter who plays in the Women's Pathways has only been playing football for, I think it's 8 months. So a lot of these females haven't had a lot of rugby league history. So it's going back and learning the fundamentals of the game, because without the fundamentals of the game, you're never going to be a successful team. Yep. So part of the camp that they went to was learning these fundamentals of the game again. Because many of these girls stripping it right back. Because like we said, some of these girls have only been playing for 8 months, 2 years. So they really need to go back to these fundamentals of the game, so then they can build their game from there.
Yep. What are you most looking forward to for the NRLW season? We've spoken about this a lot, and I'm sure we'll mention it again because we've got 24 days till the season kicks off. But
getting out there and just celebrating our girls. I think after going to the launch on Thursday and having Kezzy and Portia, there's a sense of excitement and enthusiasm that's reverberating around the club, and I want to see that go onto the field. Like, how does that translate onto the field?
Yeah.
When we go there?
First round is actually away. So Troy spoke about this on the groin strain this week. Our first 3 games are away, and then we play the Roosters at home. Thanks NRL for an easy draw. But our first game is actually, even though it's away, it's just up the road at CommBank. So yes, it is before Parramatta men's home game, but there's a few of us that are going to go out and watch the girls, and then I think KOE's playing that afternoon, so we'll head out to Lidcombe and watch the cup side play. But I'm the same. I'm just really keen. The girls want to redeem themselves as well. They want to put a bit of pride back into their jersey, and they want to pay those fans that have been around since the first season back for their
loyalty and commitment of going out there.
Yeah. So even though she's no longer part of the West Tigers, we saw this week that Ja'Kai Whitfield, who's now playing with the North Queensland Cowboys, announced her pregnancy
Big congratulations.
On Instagram. So yes, a massive congratulations to Ja'Kai and her partner. It was shared on Watch Her Footy, and also the Cowboys shared it as well. And then there was also another post that we saw this afternoon, just waiting for the studio to be ready. While many fans have congratulated Ja'Kai on this, it's reignited the same discussion that we sort of brought up in the first episode, but we want to talk a little bit about more again, because I think it's something that we're going to have to talk about a little bit more, so people understand and people can sort of change change their opinions or be a little bit more educated, I guess. Yep. Not necessarily change their opinion, but have more of an educated conversation around the NRLW pregnancy and some of the challenges that female athletes face. So on the particular posts that I saw, there were comments, and literally all of these comments from men were around the timing. Why couldn't she have waited to the off season? She's a silly girl. Her career's just taken off. You know, she is a very, very talented athlete. You know, men saying that, you know, why couldn't she do this in the off season? Mate, the off season's not 9 months long. Mathematically it's not possible to have a baby.
She's going to have time off either way.
It's just not mathematically possible to work it around season. She has still been training. So I see her being very similar to Rakia in the way that she's going to train as much as she can during this pregnancy. It does sound, I think it's only a singleton, so different to Rakia who had twins. She's going to be doing everything in her power to get herself back out on that field. But Rach, can you just tell us a little bit more about the NRLW pregnancy policy? What do people need to know to be able to have these conversations?
Okay, so we did speak about in the first episode, and that obviously now with the pregnancy in place, they'll get another player to come in and the club won't have to forfeit any money for it. It comes out of the CBA. So they're covered there monetary-wise, but the pregnancy policy is there in place to protect the female during pregnancy, post-pregnancy, and up until the child is 2 years of age effectively. There's money to cover that child until that child is 2. Now, when, like you just mentioned, that the comeback for Rick will be different to others because she's had 2 babies, they will have a customised plan in place for each female pregnancy, and that will be tailored to that individual, and that has to be signed off by the club and the chief medical officer within that club, and they have to stick to that tailored plan. So every player that is pregnant will have that in place, so when they do return to the game, they're at their, maybe not their optimal fitness, but they're as best as they can be coming back into the game. There's also so the goal is to make it a safe and gradual return to the game as well. They don't want to have them out there a month after their pregnancy.
Well, Caitlin Johnson, I think it was Caitlin Johnson from the Sharks, she was out on the field, I think it was 8 weeks after she had a baby. But I'm like,
that's mind-blowingly.
I couldn't imagine the normal average person who isn't an elite athlete would not be able to cope with that level of stress on their body.
But they would have had that plan in place, the Sharks, to ensure her safety. So they wouldn't have been signed off and she wouldn't have been allowed to play unless that plan was put into place and she was all fit and healthy.
And Charmaine mentioned that the clubs have specific female physios now just for this reason. Yep. So a female physio who specialises in the woman's body is going to have a little bit more of an understanding than a male physio.
Absolutely.
For example. And the physio themselves may be a male of the male gender, but they specialise in female physio.
And all this will be, again, like I said in the first episode, it gets reviewed annually by the NRL and the Rugby League Players Association. And again, so it'll be reviewed at the end of the year, but they're going to take on the opinion of the females who have gone down this journey of pregnancy and coming back into the game to get their perspectives on what can be improved, because the goal is for the NRL and the NRLW to have the most comprehensive transition back into a football policy in the world, because they want to ensure that these women succeed as a parent as well as professionally on the field. So they're going to review it annually so they can have the best policy in place.
That's amazing. Like the NRL is doing an amazing job with this, and I think whoever's behind the policy and the constant reviews should be commended because it's similar to what we've said a few times around female rugby league, but you can't be what you can't see. So if you're a female and you're an 18-year-old, you've just realised that professional rugby league could be your future, and you also think, well, but what if I want to have kids?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, where does that leave me? And Kezzy spoke openly about that on her Behind the Raw episode, nearly 2 years ago now, that, she had to have those difficult conversations with her partner. For the moment, she's chosen football. But women don't have to choose football anymore. They can choose to do both if they wish to do both.
And they should have that choice. You shouldn't be told, oh, hang on, no, you're pregnant now. That's the end of your.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. That's the end of your rugby league career.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say that to anyone else in any other profession. Like as a teacher myself, if I was to fall pregnant, you'd be like, well, that's the end of your teaching career. So I don't. I mean, I know it's a lot more of a physical aspect behind it, but this is why that policy that is in place is accustomed to the physical aspect of playing rugby league.
And you mentioned when we were sitting outside, if these women do choose to play football as opposed to starting a family, then they cop criticism from the other end of the spectrum of
absolutely.
Oh, so you're not a real woman because you're not going to have kids. Like,
and that's a societal thing. Like, I'm happy to share on here that I chose never to have children, and I mean, I love children. I work in early education, but I've constantly had people come up to me saying, "You're less of a woman because you haven't had children," or are you sad that you didn't have
kids?
The answer, no.
No, I'm living my best life.
I'm happy with the choice.
Vegas in February.
Exactly.
We don't have to worry about who's looking after the kids.
But again, it comes from certain people in society that ask these questions. They don't always understand the whole scope of the issue.
Yeah. All right, let's look at women's sport from a different angle, but also does include rugby league because we do hear about it quite a lot. But this starts off with a bit of a good news story and then followed up with a not so good story. So speaking specifically about rugby union, I'm the first person who know nothing about rugby union, know nothing about soccer, World Cup, all the things. Rugby league, that's all I'm interested in. Don't care about any other sport. But earlier this week, the Aussie girls won the women's rugby sevens tournament over in France. So they beat New Zealand 26-1, which is always great working for a Kiwi company when I get to, pay out my colleagues. But this week also saw one of America's most decorated rugby union players in Ilona Ma being subjected to online criticism following her appearance in the Sports Illustrated swimsuits runway. Excuse me. So her and a number of other female athletes who, Sports Illustrated have been known in the past to be the bikini kind of, being on the cover of Sports Illustrated was always quite a coveted role. But there were comments and criticism from people ranging from things, just people basically commenting on her appearance, saying that she's too big, she's too athletic.
Should have chosen a better swimsuit than
there was one specific comment that stood out to me that said that she looked like a man in lipstick and a dress. And I was like, this woman is one of the fittest people on the planet. Yeah. She has won multiple gold medals playing her sport. Yeah. She's won world championships. She's won, more things than the people sitting behind the keyboard could ever imagine. And she has to deal with this. I've started following her on Instagram off the back of a post that she made a couple of months ago about a young girl who was wanting to play union but was copying exactly the same kind of thing at school. She was a little bit bigger than the other girls. She was more muscular. And she came out and just created this most beautiful post getting behind this girl and telling her, don't worry about it. Yeah. Look at what you can do with your body. Yeah. Your body is designed to do what you want it to do, not what the person next to you wants it to do, not what the person on the other side of the table thinks that your body should be able to do. And so ever since then, I've followed her and I just think she is another amazing role model for females. But Rach, you said on the way here that you've been looking at some statistics around body image in sport. Let's have a bit of a chat about that.
But on that, like you're talking about that they're all criticising her body for being too athletic. But then in another sport, women are crucified for being too thin.
Mm-hmm. Eat a cheeseburger.
Yeah, too curvy, too tall.
Yeah.
What do you want our body shape to be? I generally no matter what a female looks like in their desired sport, there's always some form of criticism on that body.
In a football team, you need every body type. You need your tall and, slightly more probably thinner, faster fullbacks and your halves. Then you need everything in between that. And you need your big front rowers. Yes, exactly. Otherwise, you're going to get steamrolled.
Absolutely. But it just blows my mind. And the pressure obviously then filters back into mainstream society for females. So anyway, I looked into there was a survey done by the ABC Sports back in January, and they surveyed a number of female athletes from across different sports, different levels of professionalism, and also different levels of ability. So they're Paralympians. The study was focused on the fundamental issues in female sports, so sexism, online trolling, and everything like that. So 34% of women in this scope have got some form of sexual harassment towards them. Now, that's a huge amount
that is.
as well. But then we go on to that 27% of females have negative feelings about their bodies that were surveyed.
And these are professionals. Like these are women that are at the peak.
Absolutely. And these are pressures that we don't often hear men also dealing with. But the biggest one that stood out for me, because it is such a big issue in society for females, is 44% have experienced eating disorders or some sort of distorted eating behaviours.
That's crazy numbers, almost 50%.
They're dealing with all that side issue while still trying to raise a platform of professional sport. In, like, we all know that in most sports the females don't rank as highly as the men in terms of coverage, sponsorship, pay. Now they've got all these other issues that they're also trying to deal with. And then some of these females spoke out and said that they raised these concerns with their coaches or their mentors, and they were told to keep quiet because they would lose their position in their team, or that it's just a bit of sports talk. It's just it's just what happens in the sports sheds. It's just something you have to deal with.
Yeah,
but we're talking about women's mental health here as well.
Like, eating disorders is the scariest part of that whole thing, because these are female athletes who are likely training a lot. You introduce a poor nutrition plan into that, which they're not getting from the club. They're getting a nutrition plan from their club. They're from their coaches, from, the staff that they work with. But they're dealing with these mental pressures that are playing with their mind and telling them that what I'm being told to do is not good for me because it's going to make me bigger. It's going to make me more muscly. It's going to make me this or that. So then a poor nutrition plan, when you're training so much, means that you then don't train as well as you could, which leads to potential injuries, greater fatigue, which then has all these other flow-on effects down the stream. Like, it's just crazy to think that women already have to struggle with, only up until recently you couldn't play rugby league, and once you sort of reached puberty you were shipped off to play netball or touch football because there was nothing for you. And now there's finally these avenues for these players, and so we've won that battle, but now they're facing
it's almost like there's
these other battles.
a battle. We fought that battle, now there's another battle. But to have people like these women going and reaching out to their mentors or to the people and saying, keep quiet.
That's why we need more people like Charmaine in the sport, more females, and which we'll see, because, as we've just said, female professional sport in some sports doesn't have as long a history as others. So we are now seeing people like Charmaine moving into those roles where she can have more of a say over a program and mentor, and then bring in people beneath her that are solely working towards the female game, as opposed to bringing in, coaches that would have potentially coached male teams, and now all of a sudden they're thinking, oh, well, we'll just treat them like the boys. They're all out there playing footy. We'll just treat them like the boys.
A female that these females can go to as a mentor and talk about issues that do only face the females, that's probably an area that we really do need to look at. Like, if these females that are unfortunately have suffered from these eating disorders had somebody around them that they could go and speak to and felt more comfortable speaking to, then
but also speaking out about it as well.
Yeah, hushing it doesn't solve anything.
No, never. Sweeping anything under the rug, definitely doesn't help anybody, because, again, it comes down to that saying, and I know I've said it multiple times, but what you can't see, you can't be. So if you're a young girl that's struggling with this and you don't know that there's other people out there dealing with the same thing, you just don't have that support network around you, or those what's the word I'm looking for? Those what's the word I'm looking for? It's totally escaped me. But people that you can look up to.
Your mentor. Yeah.
Sort of like a mentor, but like people that you can aspire to
role
be.
Model.
A role model. Thank you. My gosh, we got there eventually. But being able to see that people have dealt with this as like Alona did on Instagram and said she came out and I dealt with the same bullying when I was at school and dealt with the same thing, but look at me now.
Yeah.
I'm a world champion. I have gold medals. I have this, that, and the other. Like, those people probably going to amount to nothing because they worry more about other people.
And it's so much easier
themselves.
now with how the importance and how big social media is. It's so easy for people to comment behind a keyboard and then just walk away.
Exactly. And I've spoken about this before. Allowing people to post anonymously on Facebook was the biggest mistake that they ever made. Yeah. Like, these internet companies or these sort of social networking companies try to say that they're supporting, you know, trying to get rid of online bullying and things like that, but they're just feeding into it because you have a fake Twitter account, you have a fake Facebook account. You can say what you want.
Absolutely.
There's absolutely no repercussions. Anyway, let's change tact and talk still about the girls, but the ambush event that we had on Sunday at Combank Stadium, we were so lucky to have both Kezzy and Portia there. So after the season launch, as I said, we did have the chance to speak to Portia, and then we also did get the chance to hear from Kezzy. We didn't get the chance to really speak to her on the night. She was a very popular lady.
She was.
But on Sunday, how many people did we have? I think we had well over 80.
Well over 80. I didn't go back through the tickets and stuff like that, but there was about well over 80. It's hard to tell sometimes because come and go.
People
and
come and go. Yeah.
But it was a really good turnout, and, you know, Paddy Herbert was there beforehand. But then Kelly did her first interview there, and
my
fantastic
first live
job.
interview. Thank you. So Rach, you said you missed hearing quite a lot of it, but we have posted up on West Tigers TV. So if you didn't get a chance to get out to Combank and hear from the girls, the interview goes for about 15 minutes. But the big things that stood out for me is Kezzy spoke quite extensively about the new coaching stuff. So having Craig Sandercock, as you said, who has stripped everything right back to the fundamentals, she said that's been a real focus for them, because if they can get the fundamentals right and get them right under fatigue, then once they're playing a game, they're really working on that old adage that defense wins games.
Absolutely.
That if they can defend, then everything else will come from that. She said we've got a new strength and conditioning coach who absolutely smashed them. But Charmaine mentioned as well that all of their all of their training outcomes were quite poor at the start of the preseason.
And they've all improved.
And every single girl has improved with all of those. Portia, was lovely to speak to her. So she only joined the team halfway through last year, and she spoke about how the girls got around her, and then she played in that Dragons win at Allianz that we were at, which was fantastic. And I asked Portia if she had any goals for her career, and obviously she wants to play for her state and her country, but she said more than that, she wants to support the Tigers, get them going, get them where they should be, and really get out there and support the girls. So
I think listening to the girls speak at the ambush and being at the event, there is such a sense of composure and quiet confidence that's filtering around the team. And Kezzy even mentioned goal this year to win the trophy.
Yeah.
And she got a nice clap for that one. And, good luck to them.
Yeah,
we hope
100%.
they can take that confidence
100%.
into the season. They're so lovely. They deserve it.
But continuing to speak on women's rugby league, especially around the Tigers, the next chapter of the women's pathways kicks off this weekend. So we've already had Lisa Fiola and Tasha Gale. The Harvey Norman Women's Premiership kicks off on Sunday. Yep. So it was supposed to be Saturday morning. We were planning on going out to Lidcombe and cheering the girls on. However, the game has been moved to 3 p.m. on Sunday.
Which doesn't make it easy at all possible for us to attend both games.
No, because we will be at Leichhardt. As much as we would love to be out there, there's no way we're missing the last game at Leichhardt. But yeah, so Harvey Norman Women's Premiership, Jersey Flag and KOE are all on Sunday afternoon. The girls are the last game of the three at 3 o'clock. NRL kicks off at 4 o'clock. So please, NRL, New South Wales Rugby League, make it make sense.
Well, we were discussing how we're meant to give these people, these players, these pathways exposure when they're continually playing it at the same time as first grade.
Yeah.
We wanted to, like Kel said, we wanted to go out there and support these girls. on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And as soon as we actually found out last Thursday
we did at the launch
that it had been
changed.
Advertised. This is going to take away spectators from these females who rightfully deserve people out there watching them play.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're just going to have family and
what
friends.
like those families as well. Like a lot of them, or some of them, a good number of them are probably also West Tigers NRL fans as well, who would love to be out at Leichhardt, but also miss that opportunity. So I just really don't understand. The other thing that blows my mind is just the whole. Anyway, I'm not going to rant about that. We'll leave that for another day because it just really pisses me off. Anyway, players to watch, Rach. Who do you think we should keep an eye out in the Harvey Norman team?
So we've got about 4 or 5 players that have stepped up from Tasha Gale who are playing in the Premiership this weekend. I'm really looking forward to she goes between 5'8" and halfback. So Amira El Abdallah. Mm-hmm. I've watched a bit of her and Tasha Gale, and she's a crafty little halfback 5'8" there. But there's also Modesty, and I'm so sorry if I say her name wrong. So Modesty Tafanui, who plays in centre, and she is also an elite rugby union player as well.
Okay.
So she's a dual code player. I was watching a bit of her highlights today, and she can find the try line. She's strong, she's powerful, and she has actually captained some of the Tasha Gale games this year. So she's got that leadership qualities in her as well.
Fantastic. Expectations for this season?
It'll be hard to know until we go out there and watch the first game. I'll try to catch it. Hopefully there's some form of a replay on Bar TV afterwards, and I can sit down and watch it when I get back from Leichhardt Oval. Mm-hmm. But just to see, again, the progression of these pathways. Yeah. Are those systems and fundamentals in place, not just from the NRLW, but all the way down to the lower grades? So when they do step up into the NRLW, they're ready to go.
Yeah. And we've spoken about pathways and the importance of pathways, but how important is this Harvey Norman Women's Premiership in the grand scheme of things?
Well, they want to play well so they get the opportunity to play for first grade. So they need to go out there and prove themselves. So Craig has no choice but to pick them for first grade. So having a strong Harvey Norman team will actually be beneficial to our NRLW team. It's just like any other system.
Yeah.
And you see it with the Panthers in their systems. They've always got those wonderful systems coming through, and as soon as they get into first grade, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, very, very true. Well, we really wish the girls a huge good luck for Sunday. We wish we were out there, but we will get out there as soon as we can when there isn't a game that clashes with the NRL. Speaking of the NRL, I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time talking about this game, but Sunday, Combank Stadium, was it a 2 o'clock kickoff?
It was a 2 o'clock kickoff.
2 o'clock kickoff. I've tried to push it out of my memory. We did play the Panthers. Well, if Panthers you can call it that. We turned up.
Yeah.
We went out on the field, and the Panthers had a bit of a opposed training session against us. Yeah. Score 68 blots.
We didn't even look like scoring.
We didn't look like we had 6 points in us, let alone 60 points. But anyway, Rach, from your day, it doesn't have to be the game, but the spark. Okay. So the moment, the player, or the effort that gave you confidence.
That's a really hard one this week. We actually spoke about it outside. I actually really enjoyed, like when we left the stadium, there was a good group of West Tigers supporters behind the stadium, and we're all obviously feeling a little bit down and depressed, and we all gave each other a hug, and we just ended up just hanging out for the next hour.
Yeah.
And just laughing.
Some of them were waiting for the players to come out. We did see the May brothers come out, and we didn't really annoy any of them.
No.
We just let them,
after a loss like that, just like, you go home,
let them go. But there was Shaq was out there, Matty G, NRL Fanatic, Sam was out there. Then we saw Hammy from Win, Learn, Draw. So there were a really good,
and it was just a really nice moment to come together, and because we understand each other. We understand how much we love this team and how much we want it to be a success, but we also understand how hard we take the hits like we did.
We also saw Scotty McRae, who did a phenomenal job of
Would not have been easy.
Of the ground announcing, but also singing Never Tear Us Apart. We were quite impressed, and I know you're a big NXS fan.
That's my favourite song of all time, so we'll critique somebody if they butcher it.
But we thought he was actually lip-syncing at first, and then realised that it was actually him. So
great job,
shout
well
out
done
to Scotty. Good job. Okay, the frustration. So just one. The thing that left you shaking your head.
I guess after the Bulldogs game and then looking into this game, how our intensity changes from game to game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can we pick ourselves up so well in those that defensive resolve for the Bulldogs game and then show nothing?
None of it.
In that game. And people can sit there and say that we had players out. Yes, we had players out, but you still got to go out there and show some commitment.
Yeah.
You can't. They lost the game before they went out in the field. They lost that game between the ears before they went out in the field.
A few people said that Appy didn't look happy coming out of the tunnel. No. And so I don't know what happened pre-game, but for me it's the errors. So I've just got a couple of points here. So 4 minutes and 46 seconds, we had our first set with the ball and then we had an error. 5 minutes and 56 seconds, we got a 6 again. So we gave away a 6 again for a ruck infringement. So 6 minutes and 33 seconds in, Panthers score their first try. 9 minutes and 39 seconds in, Tigers error. 11 minutes, 5 seconds, Panthers try. 16 minutes and 3 seconds, Tigers error. 17 minutes and 8 seconds, Panthers score. 19 minutes and 31 seconds, Tigers error.
This is such hard to listen to.
19 minutes and 51 seconds, Panthers score. So before we've even hit the 21-minute mark, we've made 4 errors and they've scored 4 tries off the back of it.
And what do we speak about in the podcast? What did we need to do right against the Panthers?
Give them the
no errors and play the fundamentals. And we didn't do any of it.
They obviously don't listen to our pod. All right. What about the talking point, the thing that Tigers fans should be discussing this week?
I just touched on it. Like, it really worries me about how we go as a team. And I spoke about it with you beforehand as well, and I just touched on it. As a team, I can be so mentally weak between the ears at times. And that's not just this year. And we've obviously seen times this year where we've had that mental resolve. And last year there was times where we had that mental resolve, but then it dips away again the following week. What do we need to do as a club to ensure that even when we're going out there against the Panthers, and I don't think many people apart from James Graham actually thought we were going to win, as a team, what do we need to do to be better in that aspect of the game?
And that's a big thing, a big question I've asked, and I've asked this for years, is do we have a sports psychologist on staff?
Yeah.
Because if we don't, we need one.
one.
Like the Panthers have, I could be getting this wrong, but Dan Hasler, I'm pretty sure it's the right Dan. He used to be a teacher.
Okay.
I follow him on LinkedIn. He's been in the same circles that I've been in throughout my education career. And he turned into sort of that coach, mentor, motivational speaker. And he was employed by the Panthers at the beginning of 2021. And what's happened since
then?
They've
gone on to have an absolute dynasty.
They've absolutely smashed the competition. So you think, the question does remain, do we have somebody on staff that is able to do that in a full-time capacity? There's no point bringing someone in to give their
little pep talks and stuff like that.
We need somebody that knows the team, that knows the ins and outs of the club, that knows what we're working towards and gets to know the players individually as people. Like, I know we've got our education team and the wellbeing team, but it's a very different thing, sports psychology. And it's always been something that I've wondered if we've had that role, and it's
you only have to look over the years in big games, in games where, there's big moments, like, the Tommy Radonicus game and stuff like that. Whenever there's big games or big moments associated to that game, it looks like we don't come out of the sheds. So I don't know what it is, but something needs to be done in that field.
So I guess my talking point, and Josh did touch on this last night, and I wanted to go into it a little bit more, is one statistic that's been doing the rounds this week is that since Jerome Luai signed with PNG, the West Tigers have been outscored 226 to 66 points. So on the surface, that's, pretty shocking. But does one thing of Jerome Luai signing this deal actually lead to the other? So bringing up the idea of correlation versus causation, and when Josh mentioned this last night, I was like, you stole my bit, mate. Like, as a high school science teacher, this was something that we had to sort of drum into the kids all the time. The idea of just because two things happen at the same time doesn't mean one specifically causes the other. So correlation means that two things do happen at the same time, but causation is that one of those things is the only thing that causes the result. And the two aren't always the same. So correlation doesn't always equal causation. So it's like saying every time you wash your car, it rains.
Yes, yeah.
That's a coincidence. It's not, it's not causation. So during the same period of time, we have missed for however many games, Adam Dewey, Samuela Fainu, Api Coruscant, Jareen Buller, Sione Fainu, Alex Twal, Taylor May. We've also played teams like the Panthers on the weekend who have lost one game all year. Yes, the Sharks. Yes, Melbourne. Manly, who have just they lost 3 in a row, sacked their coach, and now everybody's suddenly learned how to play rugby league again after forgetting how to play for 3 weeks, apparently. But if I told you that the Tigers had half a dozen first-grade players unavailable at various points, most people would say that's a pretty good reason to explain these results. But because Jerome's announcement happened at the same time, that has become an easy way for people.
It's easy for the media to target.
It is. So I guess, are fans and the media looking for an easy excuse?
I think they're just looking for another Tigers storyline, really.
Yeah.
The Tigers are an easy team to target. And whenever we're going through this slump at the moment, and the easiest thing to target is our highest paid marquee player who's just signed to go to Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
It's an easy story for them to write. When you've got an injury list like that, obviously you're missing these players for 2, 3, 4, 10 weeks, whatever it might be. But the amount of different combinations that we've then had to have in our back line, in our forwards, and then in our spine continues to change every week. So every week these players are going in with new combinations, which means new structures to play to. They've got to learn how to play next to another player. All this is on top of the players already being off injured of the combinations.
Yeah. So if we had have won 4 out of the last 5, so 4 out of the last 5 since Jerome made the announcement, would we be having this conversation?
Absolutely not. They'll be talking about how tenacious and how the club is, but at the moment
they wouldn't actually be talking about us at all because they don't talk about us.
No, we don't get any positive news.
Well. No, it would just be, oh, sweet, Jerome Luai signed for PNG. Good for him.
They haven't let them.
We'll go on and talk about the next person. We're not going to talk about the Tigers anymore because they've won 4 out of 5. So it's a non-event anymore if we had have won those games. But because we haven't, but I guess that leaves me, the last question around this is, have we become too quick to try to connect unrelated events in rugby league?
Absolutely. And again, we harp on about social media, but social media plays a huge part in it. You're frustrated after a loss or like that we got on the weekend. What's the first thing you do? You go onto social media and start reading the posts that people are on there.
Yeah.
And before you've even sat down to properly think about the win or the loss, you've already got those mindset that these people are putting on social media.
Yeah. It's not only social media, it's the media as well. You just need to watch NRL 360 over the last couple of nights and it's just constantly.
I only tuned in for about 5 minutes last night.
Good idea. So here's a question though. So to put a spin on this in the other way. So we're 14 rounds in. So it's round 15 this weekend. We have 13 rounds remaining. We are currently 6 and 7 with 2 buys. My question was going to be, so at the start of the season, if I told you we were going to be 6 and 7 by round 14, what would your thoughts have been?
I'm happy with that. I would love to be higher up, as we all would. But we're in the middle of June now, and we still have a chance of making the 8.
Yeah, we do.
We're tied with
8 points. Yeah. It's like, we're 10th.
Yeah.
Yes, we are the lowest team, but we are in that pack.
Yes. Years ago, for many years, we would have got to the end of March, April, and be like, oh, well, our season's gone. We're not making the 8.
Yeah, see you guys next year. That was fun.
And we turn up and still cheer the boys on, but we know that there's not a chance of making the 8 so early in the season. We're halfway through June and we still have that opportunity to make the 8. So we still need to get behind the boys. And our draw is a little bit easier moving forward. So we play St. George twice. We've got the Titans this weekend.
Bulldogs again.
Bulldogs again. But we actually don't leave. We only leave New South Wales once again this year, and that's against
the
North
last
Queensland.
round, the very last round against the Cowboys.
And the only other away games we've got out of Sydney are Newcastle and Canberra, which are only just up the road.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite a good draw on the way home, and it's the opportunity for all West Tigers fans to, who do live in Sydney, to go out there and support those boys in all of those rounds.
Yeah. Excuse me. I agree. We often come into a season a little bit delusional, thinking, we're going to make the finals. And, as we've seen, doesn't really happen. But I think even this year, we didn't really come into the season super confident. No. Like, we knew we had a good team on paper. Yeah. We knew that a lot of the players that we've signed over the last couple of years, so the Taylor Mays and things like that, had the opportunity to have a proper preseason because they weren't – the same with Adam Dewey. He wasn't injured for the first preseason, so he had a full preseason. Tiny had a full preseason. So there were different feelings around the season, but I still don't think that the true West Tigers fan believed at the beginning or came into the year going, yep, sweet, we're making the top 8. It's a shoe-in kind of thing. So to be at this point in the year with the injuries that we have had, with the month that we've just had, to know that we still have 50% of the season to go, Adam potentially back next week. We've got Tiny back this week. We've got Twiley back in 2 weeks. Then we've got Sam Wello is the last one.
He was hoping to get back to round 19,
he said, which still gives us 7 rounds after he comes back and a bye in there as well. So 6 rounds and a bye. So, there's no reason why we can't get behind the boys and just stop the doom, like the doom posting and the, oh my God, the world is it's all over kind of thing. As you said, it's June. Calm down, guys.
And one thing that's come from this actually is our lack of depth, and we've spoken about it. Like this, obviously with all these injuries, it's really exposed our lack of depth in the lower grades. And we can now see that, and the club can go out and start fixing that now instead of waiting until the end of the year when there's no other players to sign.
Right. All right, well, let's put that game to bed and turn our attention to this week's game against the Titans. So we've seen that Benji's made a number of changes to the side, some of which are still the flow-on effects from these injuries or due to fresh injuries that we picked up during that week. So Jareeb's back in the number 1 jersey, and thankfully we've now got Tito and Makasini both returning to their preferred spots on the wings. We've got Stafford Toa and Taylon May in the centres. So Taylon's returning a little bit early from injury.
I wasn't expecting that one.
Is a little bit scary because we saw what happened when he returned last time, but I'm sure they wouldn't put him out there if they weren't positive that he would be fine. Our halves pairing hasn't changed with Jerome Luai and Jock Madden. And then we've got Terrell and Fanua Pole in the middles with Latu Fainu playing in the hooking role because our boy Appy has been chosen for Origin. The second row this week will feature Tony Suka and KPP, with Sione Fainu this week taking on the lock role. So then we've got Tristan Hope, Bunty Afoa, Alex Seyfarth, Patrick Herbert, Mav Gaia and Charlie Murray on the bench, rounding out the 19. And then on the extended bench, we've got Luke Lalili, Javon Andrews and Josesi Lanyon, who is actually rumoured to be making his debut this weekend.
Have you seen the Instagram posts?
Some family members may have
given
a few little secrets away.
Yeah, they're already congratulating him on social media.
So
we'll wait and see.
He is named.
Maybe they're just congratulating him for being in the
potentially because it is the first time he has been named even on the extended bench. For the Titans, they'll be missing Jojo Fafita and Tino Fasumaya. Tino. I was going to screw it up. Tino both playing for Queensland Origin. They have 2 very young halves. So Jaden Campbell is only 26 and next to him is a young Harrison, I think it's Zane Harrison, who is only playing his 5th rugby league game. They do have Lachlan Ilias named on the extended bench though, so he hasn't played for the last 3 games. He was on the bench in round 12 and didn't play and hasn't been named since then. So I don't know whether he's returning from injury and could potentially step in. I don't really know a lot about this Titans side apart from those couple of players. I haven't really watched a lot of their games, but a lot of people took notice last week when they beat the reigning premiers.
Yes.
So that was interesting. Key matchups, Rach. Who do you think, or what's a key matchup to keep an eye out for?
Luai versus Campbell.
Yeah, that's exactly what I have written here as well.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see how Strathfield defends against Brimson, because he likes to carve us up a little bit and he's got a little bit of good footwork, a bit of pace. So Strathfield needs to be on his defensive game this weekend.
Yeah. This will be an interesting one for Jerome. If he gets shown up by a 26-year-old, then I think,
there will be more wolves out.
That's right. It's not going to quiet those conversations around.
And the only one that can quieten it is
worth.
Luai himself.
Exactly. And Campbell is quick. He's light. Like, I think I read he's only 84 kilos.
It's just like his dad.
Yeah, exactly. The kid can run. Like, there is so much speed in that Titan side. Keanu Kinney in the back, like, that's what I'm worried about, is they've just got so much speed. And we saw on Sunday, whenever the Panthers made one of their 15 line breaks, we had no speed to match them. The strengths of the Titans we need to keep an eye on.
I've just spoken about the speed and their nifty little footwork. Like, our marker defence is going to need to be tight this weekend.
Yeah. And they're going to be confident coming out of, And
they've got a good record against us. They play well.
They do. But
every team does.
I was going to say, who doesn't have a good record against us? So the Titans are missing their captain, in Tino, and undoubtedly their best middle forward. Yeah. I think that Terrell and Whenua need to keep their middles working in that first half, because their bench middles are nowhere near as strong. It's actually tricky because we haven't really seen a lot out of Bunty this year. Normally we would say that our bench middles would
but it's not our strongest bench.
Yeah, it's probably not our strongest bench this year. So do we drop one of the starting forwards back to the bench?
I'll put Whenua back, but then who do we, because Whenua sometimes plays quite well coming off the bench, but then who do you put into the...
Well, you start with Bunty, and then you give him a bit more of an extended break through the middle of the game.
And then bring on Whenua when they bring on their tired... Yeah. Because their bench isn't great either.
No. So it's just more, how do we maintain that impact when you take off somebody like... Well, we know that Terrell May can play 80 minutes.
He'll probably pump out a good amount of minutes this weekend.
Being Leichhardt, it probably is going to be the case. But we know that Whenua does need that break. And we don't know how many minutes we're going to get, or how many impactful minutes we're going to get out of Bunty, because we just haven't seen it. The only other forward on the bench is Alex Seyfarth, really. You've got Mav and Charlie Murray.
They both had very poor games.
They did.
I mean, everyone did. Like, when you look at the...
They did, but unfortunately Mav, he let a lot of plays through that
his defensive reads weren't great.
And he doesn't have the speed to make up for it.
No.
So that's, that would maybe be my suggestion, is we just do a switch up and get some impact back on the bench that we know is going to help through that middle period of the game. But with Leichhardt, Leichhardt's already sold out.
Sold out, yeah. It's been sold out for weeks.
It has been. They did say that they had a last release that will be coming before Sunday. But I know many people that are asking, like, every Facebook group is like, does anybody have two tickets? Does anybody have two tickets? It's like, you knew that this game was going to be...
It's the last one the boys are playing it for 18 months. It was always going to be.
Always.
And a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And Leichhardt sells out even when we're won 3 games from last on the ladder.
Exactly. So, getting in early, scoring a try, getting the crowd...
Got to get the crowd.
Got to get the crowd into the game early, because if Titans score first... that place can sound like a ghost town with 20,000 people there. So,
and that's what I put down as my biggest opportunity this weekend. We should be grateful we're playing this game at Leichhardt, because Leichhardt can be worth an extra 12 points to that team running out there.
Yeah.
So we need to use Leichhardt as our big X factor this weekend.
As Sean talks, the crowd is your 18th man.
Absolutely.
Or your 14th player on the field. You need to be vocal, get in the ref's ear, really drive that, have the ref second guessing every decision that he's making.
We can see the influence Leichhardt made against the Raiders games and everything like that. So we need to replicate that again.
Yeah. maybe not go as far as we went with the Raiders game. Maybe keep it a little bit more humble. Like I have no problem with that, but this time let's maybe keep it a little bit more humble.
Well, they don't really have like a Viking clap or anything.
No,
they
don't.
They
but it's more the other chant that went up that I,
took offense. You didn't like it.
I didn't mind it at the time, but it has come back to bite us in the ass.
Yeah, a bit of karma's come. Yeah,
it has. Score prediction.
I'm predicting a bit more of a high scoring game because our defence hasn't been great and we're still lacking a bit around our middle, and Titans can lack in defence as well. I've gone a 28-20 Tigers scoreline.
Yep.
I've said that Leichhardt needs to have a big game. I think I worry for him.
It's one we didn't really talk about, but it's
I mean, his defence is great, so that's going to hopefully tighten up that middle. But I'd like to see him bring his running game because we know he can straighten the attacking line and get through if he brings his running game. So I really hope Leichhardt has a big game because that poor kid has been shifted from here to there in that team, and I really hope he starts finding a bit of place.
Yeah, no, I agree. My score prediction, I have one. I'm going 26-10. So I'm going off that Sharks game where I wore this jersey. So 26-10, get in early, get a few tries, get the crowd into the game. And then
put the pressure off our bench as well. You don't want our bench to be coming in if we don't make the changes like you've suggested.
Yep.
You don't want them coming in and then really having a dogfight in the middle. We want to be in front when those bench changes happen.
Exactly. So we actually didn't mention Appy. Let's just quickly talk about Appy making Origin. What are your thoughts around that?
I've been quite vocal in my thoughts about Appy playing Origin. I love him. He's probably my favourite player in the team and he absolutely deserves it. But I would have him play for the Tigers 110%.
Yeah.
A Tigers win means more to me than a New South Wales win. I'll put it out there.
Especially this season when, as we've spoken about, there is so much more chance of us making the finals. It was only in our Tigers creators chat, and we got a couple of people went at me for it, but I said I would have loved for Appy to have been picked and then for him to choose to play for us.
I said the same thing, and people were saying, would you turn down 30,000? I'm like, people have, players have.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a precedent for him to turn it down.
No, considering where he's at in his career and where we are at this year, like if he and Jerome can get us into the finals for the first time in, I don't even know how many years it is now, 16 years.
I've lost count.
Like that would be huge.
And one of the players that deserves it more than anyone, Twiley obviously deserves it, but Arpy has been the heart and soul of our team since he came over. He absolutely deserves to see our club.
Which is also the reason why he deserves a Blues jersey.
Exactly. I know.
So it is really hard.
But also Christian Tapau-Moores has made the under-19s, so showing our pathways are going well again. So congratulations to him.
So did both of the Large brothers, who we let go a couple of years ago.
Because we wanted to keep Galvin.
Yes, let's not talk about Alvin either. So this weekend there's no official ambush event because we are at Leichhardt.
Yes.
We don't do them at Leichhardt because there's really just not the space. But there was supposed to be a march from the Red Lion. Unfortunately, that has been put off, so that's no longer happening. We will be, however, at the Orange Grove Hotel. We're planning on getting there for lunch and having a few drinks. And then Brent Reid will actually be joining us.
Very excited for this.
At about 3:00. So Steve from the Claws Out pod had reached out to Brent after he sort of
slammed Leichhardt.
Yeah, talked about Leichhardt being a bit of a hole and invited him to come and be part of the atmosphere. So he's going to hang out with us, the Ambush crew and the West Tigers TV crew. We have heard this afternoon that Fox are actually sending a camera, so they will be following us around that afternoon. It'll also be filmed for West Tigers TV, so you'll get all of those insights. So if you're interested, get down to the Orange Grove, but I can guarantee you're going to have to be there early. That place fills up on a normal Leichhardt game day. Being the last one, there's also the soccer at 2:00.
I don't follow soccer
either, but apparently the Australians are playing someone. But we'll be there. So if you do head down to the Orange Grove, make sure you do come say hi to us and just make a day of it. Like
come up and say hello to Reedy as well because, let him know how much you love Leichhardt.
That's right. That's right. And
he'll be sitting with us in our little behind the bench there at one point in time. So I might
he'll
need
be up in the stands with Steve and then he'll be in Bay 8 with yourself and Gary.
Yeah.
And then he's going to go over and experience the hill.
I have to watch my P's and Q's because I am known to put out a few swear words when I'm cheering.
Pretty sure they already know what a Leichhardt crowd's like. So anyway, guys, make sure you make a day of it out of Leichhardt. Come and say hi to us. We'll both be there. We're really keen to meet more people. We love it when you guys come and say g'day. But thank you again for tuning in. This has been episode 8 of Hear Her Roar. We'll hopefully have a guest next week joining us in studio, but keep an eye out on the socials for that one. So thanks again, Rach.
Kelly.
It's been another great conversation.
Always enjoyable.
Go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.